Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience with Barclays Bank. As you all know, online banks can be quite difficult to work with, especially when you have to deal with a situation that requires you to speak to a real human being. Most of the time, you hear something like this.
Mobile. This call may be monitored or recorded. I have your phone number as 42. Are you calling about the account for that number?
Yes.
Great. Now, in a few words, please tell me what you're calling about. You can say things. My internet. Okay. Now tell me why you're calling today.
Representative.
Okay. Please choose one of these options. You can also tell me what you need help with in your own words. Own words. Okay. Just so you know, there is a fee of $5 for completing your payment.
Well, you get the idea. Something like that. You end up being on the phone for a while, trying to talk to someone, and eventually you probably get nobody. You guys have probably experienced this before. If you're familiar with online banks, they're basically banks that establish their operations online. You hardly have any brick or mortar place to go to, unlike the regular banks like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, and the rest. I opened this account with Barclays Bank because when I found out about them, they were offering about 2.0% interest on your savings. So I thought that's a good idea, to put in some money and, get 2.2% on it. I mean, they offered way more than what the Bank of America or Chase would offer. So I decided to open up the account. Most of the time I'm putting loose change, to be honest, because it's used mostly as backup account or secondary account, not necessarily as a primary account. And the reason I do that is because, there are times when you're just like, okay, I need a quick $500 or a quick, $200, and that you don't want to touch the money in your actual account yet because maybe you have planned for that or you need to pay your bills or something. So I can easily use that money. Now, I don't consider that an emergency fund, because an emergency fund is tucked away somewhere. Accessible, but at the same time, it's not as accessible as this Barclays Bank. Now, specifically with this account, I would occasionally deposit reimbursements from my job. Now, my job would reimburse us certain expenses. They would send us the checks to our homes and then you deposit it. Now, unfortunately, I moved recently, and because I moved, one of the checks that was sent to me, I didn't receive it. So they had to send it to my new address. Mind you, so in this we already have two checks that are kind of floating around. So the one that was sent to my new address was received, but the other one that was sent to my old address wasn't received. But the good thing was that I already started forwarding my document from my old address to my new address. But obviously that might take a while for the mail to get to me. So eventually the mail came in, and it came in I think about 3 weeks ago. The situation was that I already deposited the check first time, that was maybe 2 months ago. Obviously, I'm not going to keep records of me depositing the check of 2 months ago, especially my memory. I mean, I could keep records of it in paper, but I hardly go back to check because generally my job will reimburse us these checks 2 months later from the date the expense was made. So the issue is that you end up receiving these checks and you just think, well, maybe it's just one of those checks that I already made the expense on a while ago that was being received. That was the error that I made on my part, and I absolutely take responsibility for that because maybe I should have done a better job going back to look at my transactions to make sure that I'm not going to deposit a check twice. I deposited the first check like 2 months ago, and the second check came in like last week or so. So, I mean, what do? I'm not going to just throw it away and assume that, maybe it's a check I deposited. This check is randomly coming, so that's what I did. I deposited a check. Unfortunately, the check bounced because I already deposited like 2 months ago, so I was assessed a fee. Now, the fee is not a lot, it's about $5 or so. But the concern is that since this is my first time this is happening, and I've never had to deal with Barclays Bank before, or speak to a representative, I've always done everything online. My point was, can I actually get this bank to work with me as a real person? Can I talk to someone as a real person and get them to understand my situation and maybe reimburse this $5? Mind you, $5 isn't a lot, but if you think about that on a savings account, that's a lot. As you know, you probably get, on a regular savings or checking account, you probably get, that in a year. If you get that, you're probably lucky, I have to be honest. Most of the time, that's what you get in like 5 years. I mean, I would occasionally see the interest on my checking accounts and it's like 0.000 something, So I was like, you know what, $5 isn't a lot, but at the same time, it would make sense to get to work with this bank and see how well they treat their customers. And I must say, I was impressed. I'm going to share with you how it went.
Main menu. To hear our fantastic
domestic savings and CD rates available today, press 1. To a relationship manager, press 0. Please hold for the next available relationship manager. Thank you for calling. Your call may be monitored and recorded.
Thank you for calling Barclays Bank. My name is Heather. May I have your first and last name, please? Thank you, Ms. Jojo. How are you today? Good. Are you calling about a savings account or CD?
A savings account.
How can I help you?
Yes, so I recently got a mail. No, that I would have intentionally done. That's why I'm just calling.
I mean, I can take a look into your account. I can't promise anything, but I can take a look.
Yes, please.
Can you spell your last name? Thank you. And the answer to your security question, what was the first movie you ever saw?
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the question again?
What was the first movie you ever saw?
A few moments later.
I don't know why I put that there.
I'm not for sure. You might want to log in and change that.
Yeah, probably.
Let me just see here. Okay, I can go ahead and waive that for you as a courtesy.
Okay.
You'll see a credit on your account probably in the next 2 to 5 business days.
Okay.
I have to open up a ticket and tell our back office to remove that fee.
Okay.
And they're not here over the weekend, so I will provide you with a ticket number as well.
Okay.
What's a good phone number and email to reach you? All right. Do you have any other questions today?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much. Welcome back. So what do you think? Would you open a bank with Barclays Bank based on this experience with me? I felt very comfortable through the conversation. I felt like the lady was very understanding. And obviously, she was able to look at my accounts to see if this has happened before or if this was a pattern, which wasn't the case. So I'm sure she was able to work with me based on that. But in any situation, the goal of this video is just to show how some of these banks could actually be better than a regular, bank, brick and mortar banks. Because assuming I had to call Bank of America, I'm pretty sure it takes a long time to get across to someone. I mean, I've tried to call Bank of America before, and yeah, it takes a while. And I hate calling banks because of that reason. Me trying this out and I was able to talk to someone in like 2 minutes and get it sorted out is pretty impressive. And that would actually motivate me to use this account more because I know that it's not just online, there's a bit of relationship that comes with it as well. So, I mean, if you're thinking of opening a bank account, you could consider this one. I mean, this is my experience and I'm sharing it with you and being open about it. Again, it was a mistake that I made, even though it was a honest one, but they were able to work with me, which is what we want. We, as human beings, we don't want to be used or just taken advantage of because of a mistake you made. So I hope this would share some tips or ideas that would help you to make a decision if you're thinking of opening an online account, especially with Barclays Bank. This is my first time I'm doing this. This is the first time I'm actually having an experience like this, and I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed with the way it was handled. Next time, I'll make sure that this doesn't happen again, and probably it won't happen again because the reason why this particular event happened was because I moved. So obviously the check was sent in 2 places, and it took a while for the second one to actually get to me. And by the time it got to me, there was no way I could have really made sure that it wasn't something I deposited before, knowing that my job would occasionally send us checks like that. I hope this video was pretty helpful. I hope it was informative. I hope it was educative. I hope it was enlightening. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification, stay tuned for the next video because I probably will be sharing more experiences like this with you guys. This is why I have a channel on YouTube.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Welcome to Barclays Online Banking.